Welcome back to the Almost Above Average podcast. I am Chris McIntyre, and today we are going to go through another political article written by Anthony Christian, a creator over on Substack. I will link to him in the show notes so you guys can go over there and follow him. I believe it's a paid subscription, but he has some really good content. I've been following him for a while, so go check out his page, Anthony Christian. But he just dropped this a couple days ago, and I wanted to multiply it and share it with you guys. So let's check it out. It's called Congratulations, You've Been Flagged. What AI sees when it scans for dissent, and what it always misses. How the machines read us, and how local organizers protect their work. Surprise, a new anti-Antifa executive order just dropped. That tracks with the regime's pattern, using executive power to criminalize dissent, fame Democratic voices as terrorist threats, and funnel new money powers into surveillance and enforcement. Basically, it's a narrative weapon disguised as public safety, and now it's important that you pay attention to any shutdown bill, and here's why. The funds to implement these actions will be allocated across multiple provisions. While the Democrats focus on health care, watch what this government will load inside this bill, because at some point a bill will pass, and you can see the play already. Our party will be yelling, "We saved health care for a year, you are welcome." Meanwhile, the compliance arm of the federal government will also have the remaining funds it needs to lock down internal control. So do the math. Trump will likely give the Dems at some point the version they want, because Schumer and Jeffries need to be able to sell, "We saved healthcare and got a 12-month extension" to Americans on the fence. And the pitch will be, "We did it, but in order to help further, we need you to elect us again." A practical brief from Narrative HQ on messaging, monitoring, and staying effective without setting off automated scrapers paired with AI. So Anthony Christian, he's spent the last 10 months watching two parallel things happen at once. Number one, powerful actors weaponize attention, flooding networks, buying assets, and manufacturing frames that become common sense. That's true. Number two, government and corporate monitoring systems increasingly rely on automated scraping and signal metrics to decide what's noise and what's high priority. This is important here because the people behind AI at the government level do not always understand the nuance. Most people don't write about the second item with nuance. They treat the tech like magic that either always works or always fails. In reality, it's messy, brittle, and full of human error like everything else we do, and that's exactly the leverage we should be using. Below is a short, clear map of how monitoring systems tend to classify civic activity, why that matters for grassroots work, and, most importantly, practical recommendations for organizers who want to seed truth in their communities without creating unnecessary risk for volunteers or getting muted by automated systems. This is important here because a ton of people are scared of the machine. A machine that, mind you, that is used against them. The monitoring tier map, plain English. This is how automated systems and downstream teams often label and categorize accounts and activity. From the background chatter up to requires urgent review. Tier 1, ambient chatter. Low-frequency posts, local complaints, op-eds, memes, single-person rants, and even videos. These are logged and shelved as sentiment data. Little or no follow-up. That's mostly what I do here on the Almost Above Average podcast. Tier number 2, active accounts, consistently posting around civic topics. Messaging shows structure, same themes, similar phrasing. The occasional engagement spikes. Systems mark these as accounts to watch or pay attention to. Remember this tier. Tier number 3, coordination signals. Online messaging always appears in clusters tied to events or local stories. An example would be something like ICE in Aurora, Illinois. Suddenly, multiply accounts amplify similar phrasing. The account isn't just posting random shit, it's shaping conversation in a target area. Human reviewers begin to take a closer look. Keywords in this tier: protests, anti-GOP, activists, immigrants, Palestine, etc. And tier number 4, high priority patterns. This tier is going to look at a rapid cross-platform spread, coordinated amplification, or content that includes precise calls for public gatherings and dates and locations. This triggers deeper scrutiny and possible downstream actions, calls to action specifically, words like fight, dates, and times. This is where you need to be fucking cautious now. Make no mistake, fear is how regimes stop those who are scared. Fear is how protests do not get the same movement as earlier ones may have. This is precisely why protests have been targeted. The regime wants to agitate. They want to use force. Why? Because fear is their only weapon. All regimes are weak and fragile. That's true. Tier 5, networked operations. Multiple linked accounts, shared assets, recurring patterns across regions and platforms. The system treats this as an organized network rather than isolated voices. Groups posting and sharing the same shit over and over again. And why this matters for narrative work? If it is your goal to seed truth, awaken communities, and push back on the propaganda, you do not need to escalate into higher tiers to have an impact. In fact, the smarter the saturation strategy, the less you rely on risky single moments that draw heavy automated attention. The playbook that wins is simple, and here it is. We have to tell human stories at scale. The Democrats have now just barely realized this. Repeat same civic truths and facts across many small channels, like mine. Like and promote mine, guys. If you made it this far in the video, hit subscribe. Make your message simple, factual, and emotionally real, not engineered to go viral. Facts are still facts, period. End of story. There's only one group in this country that hates facts. Double check and triple check your facts before you write, especially if you are a highly visible organization that has already been labeled by this government. Move consistently, not explosively. Most people cover viral headlines with opinion pieces that, in the normal American media ecosystem, would never even make the cut. That has changed. Things are different now, and your freedom can easily be taken away over some machine flagging your content as dissent. Walking this tightrope builds a hard landing without handing monitoring systems to a batch to signal. Escalate and flag you and your groups. That's probably what's happening with me. Now, here's the practical playbook for community organizers. Safe, effective, and helpful. Number 1, we have to use human language, not trigger phrases. Avoid precise calls that name dates, locations, or use charged operational verbs. Use verbs like organize, gather feedback, host community meetings, and document experiences. Keep the asks online, local, and practical. Share your story about healthcare access, not show up at A and C, unless you are already in the public eye, an elected official already under threat. Number 2, amplify real people, dozens of them. One powerful testimonial can land like a hammer. 30 powerful testimonials land like a nuke. We need to prioritize our volume over the spectacle. Collect 30 short, local first stories a week and distribute them across small local outlets first, neighborhood groups, and native signal posts, social posts. 3, stagger distribution and diversify platforms. Don't push and rush the same copy everywhere all at once. We have got to stagger our posts across various channels and formats as well. Short video here, quote post there, a local op-ed somewhere. That reduces the signal moment spikes that algorithms flag. Super key in this moment. Number 4, we have to keep messaging simple and reusable. Create a 3-point monitoring drop for your team, a headline, one short stat, one human quote. Distribute it to your spokespeople and volunteers. Consistency wins, not cleverness or intelligence. Example morning drop, headline, local hospital at risk after funding changes. Stat, X amount of patients served monthly, why staff layoffs possible. And the quote, I'm worried for all my neighbors who depend on the ER, local name, town. This is the real example pulled in this morning. And 5, use factual, searchable framing. Anchoring these claims to verifiable facts, local hospital closure notices, county budgets, state filings, makes your message defensible and easy for neutral reporters to pick up. Remember, hyperbole with facts that can be verified makes a difference, especially if you end up in a detention center and have to get an attorney as an American. Number 6, avoid direct operational planning in public channels. I won't go into the systems here today because a lot of these systems cost thousands of dollars. But if you have the funds to protect yourself with the core systems, you need to do so. You have to use encrypted tools for logistics. Public feeds are for stories, context, and civic mobilization in the broad sense, not step-by-step plans posted on multiple platforms with multiple variations. And one thing we need to remember in this federal government, if they are not looking for you, it's easy to hide. But there is no Signal chat or WhatsApp account that cannot be subpoenaed by the Fed. No entity or trust or offshore account that will hide you from the corrupt government agency hell-bent on labeling Americans terrorists. 7, build a narrative room, lean and fast. Even a 2-person rapid response unit helps. One strategist plus one local editor. Their job? Turn the day's developments into 2 to 3 repeatable community messages before 9 a.m. Send via a secure channel to spokespeople and neighborhood leads. Number 8, play defense with journalistic partners. Give small local reporters exclusive first looks at your documented stories. Local press runs, not mass virality. Create pressure that's harder to dismiss or scrub. This last point is important because right now independent journalists are being targeted first. And why is that? Because it's fucking easier. No legal teams and no defense. It's easy for a regime to disappear an independent journalist versus someone who works for a known institutional media company who has teams of legal experts ready to stand and fight in the courts to defend their employees. And in closing, we live in an era where automated tools decide whose noise and whose threat gets amplified, often without understanding a single human sentence. I tried to make this piece pull back the curtain as simple as possible on how scraping systems classify dissent, why nuance disappears, and practical, nonpartisan ways organizers and communities can stay effective without becoming targets of blunt, miscalibrated machines. This is not paranoia. It's a survival strategy for civic life in the algorithmic age. It comes with piles of shit we all have to deal with. But the most important thing to remember here is that over 150 million of us, all with similar access and all the same tools, just variations. In a world like this, if you don't use those tools to your advantage, you are conceding defeat. We are the ones with the real power, and the regimes know this. It's why they use fear and hate as a weapon. We need to be reminded daily that when we work and coordinate together, we can do anything. Now we go into laying out how AI scrapers work. First one is the scraper layer. Automated tools, APIs, headless browsers, botnets, pull posts, comments, hashtags, images. Number 2 is the AI layer, filtering and tagging. Number 3, fusion with other data. And why this is so effective for them, humans can't keep up with the fire hose of data, but AI loves and feeds on it. Automated scrapers guarantee raw volume. AI guarantees sorting the signal from the noise. And it's why and how you can fire thousands of federal employees and then have to rehire them again. Together, they build a near real-time dissent heat map. But think of it like a map that's not colored in. That's the missing piece. No AI is perfect. It spits out false positives all the time. Sarcasm, satire, even just quoting regime language can get flagged. And at the same time, it misses coded language or layered metaphors, something we constantly use as humans. That is why human review teams usually step in. But picture what happened with the federal layoffs. The regime learned on AI to cut costs and wound up firing an entire staff of nuclear scientists. The system flagged them, the order went out, and only after the fact did someone realize, wait, we screwed up. They had to bring those same experts back. And that's the problem. The machine itself isn't the danger. It's the dipshit humans running it. AI without context, oversight, or basic logic isn't intelligence at all. It's an error at scale. Anyway, I wanted to bring that to you. I thought it was a very interesting article. It delved into the tech world that we are currently living in and had some practical strategies for how to combat the rhetoric happening in our country currently. I'm gonna link to Anthony Christian in the show notes. Check him out. And in the meantime, hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. I have been following a lot of political creators online, and some of them I like to do videos about. So let me know what you think. Peace.